Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder why some kids are super curious and always asking questions while others seem more reserved? Today we're diving into a fascinating study that explores exactly that and what it might mean for how we all learn. Have you ever seen a child completely engrossed in a new toy or a nature documentary, their eyes wide with wonder, wanting to know everything? That is curiosity in action. Scientists know curiosity is a powerful engine for learning, kind of like a built-in seeking system that makes us want to discover new things. But how does this inner drive actually turn into doing things, like asking questions or paying close attention? And does it look the same for everyone everywhere? This new research takes us to Nepal, a place with very different classroom experiences and cultural expectations than what we might see in many Western countries. The researchers were really curious about whether curiosity leads to active information seeking, like asking lots of questions, or more attentive information seeking, like really listening and observing. They also wondered if other skills, like being confident or having good focus, help curiosity turn into action. At its heart, this study is about epistemic curiosity, which is basically the desire to know more about anything and everything. It is that feeling that makes you want to fill in the blank in your knowledge. We all experience it, and it's a huge reason why we learn. Think about it: when you're curious, you're more likely to put in the effort to find answers, even if there is no immediate prize. But here is where it gets really interesting. In many parts of the world, especially in school settings that prioritize respect for teachers and a calmer classroom environment, being super loud and asking a ton of questions might not be seen as the best way to show curiosity. Sometimes deep attention, like really absorbing what the teacher is saying or carefully watching a demonstration, is the preferred way to signal you are engaged and eager to learn. This study wanted to see if curiosity shows up differently depending on the culture. So, the big questions here were: does curiosity lead to asking questions or paying attention, and do other skills, like social confidence and mental focus, make this connection stronger or weaker? They looked at 701 first graders in Nepal to find out. To measure curiosity, the scientists used a few clever methods. One was a willingness to pay task. Imagine getting a few tokens, and you could trade them for a small prize like stationery, or you could trade some tokens to watch a cool science video. The more tokens kids were willing to give up for the video, the more they valued that information, suggesting higher curiosity. Another tool was the Explore and Learn task, which was like a digital game where kids could click on different pictures to learn facts about things like plants or the moon. Based on how many facts they looked up about each topic and how many different topics they explored, they could measure different kinds of curiosity: breadth, meaning exploring many things, and depth, meaning digging deep into one thing. To measure the auxiliary skills that might help curiosity turn into action, they looked at a few things. For executive function, which is like your brain's control center for focus and managing impulses, they used a task called head, toes, knees, and shoulders. It is a game where kids have to follow tricky instructions that test their ability to pay attention and switch tasks. They also measured social confidence, which is how sure kids feel about talking to people and participating in social situations. For this, they used little stories or vignettes about kids and asked the participants which character was more like them. Finally, they looked at sensitivity to social conventions, which is understanding and following the unwritten rules of how to act in different situations. This is super important in a classroom setting. Then came the main event. The researchers watched the first graders during a science lesson about plants. They video recorded what the kids did, paying close attention to their information-seeking behaviors. This meant looking for how often they asked factual questions to the teacher or used signals to get attention. That's proactive information seeking. They also watched for how often they maintained eye contact with the teacher, nodded along, or showed thoughtful facial expressions while listening. That's attentive information seeking. Now, for the findings, what did they discover? Well, they found that curiosity really does matter. Kids who were more willing to forgo a prize for information and kids who explored a wider range of topics were more likely to engage in proactive information seeking, meaning they asked more questions. This confirms that even in a different cultural context, that drive to know pushes kids to actively seek answers. But it wasn't just about asking questions for attentive information seeking, like focused listening. Kids who were willing to trade rewards for information, and those who explored topics in more depth showed stronger attentive behaviors. This suggests that curiosity can drive kids to really soak in the information being presented, not just actively pursuing new bits. Here is where the other skills come into play and make things even more interesting. For proactive information seeking, like asking questions, researchers found that kids with higher executive function, that is better focus and impulse control, were more likely to turn their curiosity into asking questions. They could manage their curiosity and ask questions in a way that was more likely to get a good response. And social confidence was a big player too. Kids who felt more comfortable talking to adults and peers were more likely to be proactive in their information seeking. If you're not worried about being judged, you are probably more willing to put yourself out there and ask that question. When it came to attentive information seeking, executive function played a key role again. Kids with higher executive function showed a stronger link between their curiosity and their ability to stay focused and attentive. It seems like having good focus helps curiosity translate into sustained attention. So, what does this all mean? Curiosity is definitely a driver, but it is not the whole story. It is like having a great engine in a car, but you also need the steering wheel and the brakes and the gear shift to actually go somewhere useful and in the right direction. Those steering wheels and gears are the auxiliary skills, like executive function and social confidence. This study really highlights that in classrooms, especially those with different cultural norms, curiosity might not always look like a barrage of questions. It can also be quiet, focused attention, and the ability to act on that curiosity, whether through speaking up or listening intently, depends on a child's other skills. For instance, a child might be brimming with curiosity but lack the social confidence to ask a question, or the executive function to know when and how to ask it. This has huge implications for education. Instead of just trying to make kids more curious, we also need to focus on building those crucial skills that help them express their curiosity effectively. For teachers and parents, this means creating environments where kids feel safe to ask questions, but also environments where focused listening and deep observation are valued and encouraged. It's about supporting the whole package of learning. Now, like all research, this study has its limits. Measuring curiosity perfectly is tricky, and these kids were only in first grade, so their skills are still developing. Also, since it is a correlational study, we can't definitively say that curiosity causes information seeking. It just shows their link. Future research could explore if teaching these auxiliary skills actually leads to more curiosity-driven learning over time, and importantly, how these dynamics might differ in even more diverse cultural and educational settings around the world. Ultimately, this research offers a more nuanced picture of curiosity. It tells us that curiosity is a spark, but it is the other skills that help that spark ignite into a flame of learning. By understanding how curiosity interacts with skills like focus and confidence, we can better support all children on their learning journeys, no matter where they are or how they best express their desire to know. It is a reminder that effective learning isn't just about having the desire to learn, but also having the tools to make that desire work for you. And that's a wrap on today's dive into the science of curiosity. What do you think? Does this resonate with your own learning experiences or those of kids you know? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this interesting, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to Rubin's Mind Lab for more science breakdowns, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the amazing world of the mind. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.